welcome to the When I Wanted Out talk show. My name is Kola-Edun. Thank you so very much for joining us again on another episode. We do hope that these episodes have been making meaningful contribution to your relationships, marriages, or your preparation for marriage. Today's episode, we're discussing a story titled, My In-Laws Were Stressing Me Because I Didn't Have a Child. Now, this story is about a couple that struggled with childbirth. They tried all that they could, but could not have a child. The wife endured the unexplainable pain one goes through when one keeps trying to have a baby, and each month her period comes. She explained that she would cry for days and could not shake off the vacuum and the heaviness that she felt. To make matters worse, his parents and some of his relatives started putting pressure on her to have a child. Now, we thank God she eventually had a baby and is eternally grateful for God's mercy. Now, if you'd like to know the full details of this story, it's on our social media platforms, so make sure you check it out so you know what exactly we'll be discussing on this particular episode. Now, with me to discuss this story are Mrs. Yewande Adekoya. Thank you so very much for coming. And Tolulokwe Maurice Epon. Thank you so much for coming. So now this story was quite simple, but I find that a lot of women go through this issue of not having a baby or looking for a baby, and they can go on for, years at a time. What was your initial reaction? I'll start with Miss Yewande. What was your initial reaction when you read this story?
Okay, for me, it's a familiar story because
It's a familiar story.
Yeah. And I went through that, and I waited for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and the in-laws, oh God, we go to the same church. So every
wow, that have been in lots.
the pressure was much.
Yeah,
It was much. And so I understand what she was saying about the pressure and all that, but thank God she was able to withstand it, and then eventually they had their baby, because eventually the babies would come.
Eventually.
The time might be there, but eventually it will be a thing of the past. Yeah.
It's just that waiting, though. It's that waiting. What was your initial reaction to the story?
The story is pretty common, especially, with women that, have had to have delayed fertility issues. So it's kind of resonates. And interestingly, I don't know if I should say opportunity, but I still have friends, family, they are still trusting God for the fruit of 10 years for not having a child. Of the storyline, I like the fact that, she anchored, she found somebody to introduce her to the faith. And that really was, the deal breaker for us. So an encouraging.
It's an encouraging story. But there are a lot of people that are going through this. And you say you understand what this woman was going through. How did you cope? In those 5 years, what did you do to maintain sanity, to withstand pressure, to be able to keep yourself focused on the fact that what God has promised He would do?
Okay, so for me, for the first, I had some form of health challenge.
Okay.
More of an hormonal thing. So I knew, but then we started going to the hospital, and then we started working at it. However, my parents were Christians, so I didn't even, there's nobody after a year or two that will be quiet. Everybody begins to pray that next year they hope you have a child and all that. So I was holding on to God, holding really tight onto God. And then especially when they found out I was the one that had the issue, so it was devastating. I was thinking back now, I'm 15 years in marriage. I'm thinking now that 5 years was
It was fire.
hell.
Yeah, it was him.
Coming was just, it made so much difference.
Oh,
But I there are days I cried, there are days I went to mountain. It's just I didn't do anything ungodly, I didn't have that option.
you didn't have that option. I know someone that did something ungodly because she had to align with her mother-in-law. So the mother-in-law was saying, you are sitting at home, you're not doing anything. Let me take you somewhere. Let me introduce you to somebody. Let me do this, let me do that. And that's how she started going from place to place to place to place. She said, ojú mi ti rí, because of having a child. Yeah, that she went to so many places, but that at a point, all the things, the concussion they asked her to drink, all the this, all the that, eat egg, do this, do that, that at some point she just got to the place where she felt like, you know what? I'm done. Enough is I've tried. Say, I've pleased you. You've taken me everywhere. It didn't work. You too, as my mother, you're taking me everywhere. It didn't work. Everybody leave me now. Let God do it. So I do understand when you said you didn't have to, go places.
Another thing I did, like I said, aside that was eventually I had to be happy. My life was just all about having a child.
Yeah.
I was fulfilled in every other thing as well.
Your focus.
Where even if it doesn't come, God is still God.
Yeah.
Married, and you have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Everything work. And it was at that point, that my body began to understand that, okay, she's in a good, I don't know whatever it is. But, with all that, I was eventually able to have it. And I was happy. I was happy. And
so you need to remove your focus, because what we're trying to understand is, how do we cope? For women that are currently going through this, how do we cope? The pressure is a lot. How do we deal with our in-laws? I'll pass that question to you. How does a woman currently going through this situation, how does she deal with the in-laws?
Depending on the location, if you're not living within that territory where
yes,
it's easier. Or when they're always you're around, they provide every now and then. I believe that you should get to a point where you have to build your immunity against their jabs. Honestly, because if you don't, it will drive you nuts. So kind of get used to whatever it is they want to say. I'm sure it will definitely be difficult. Well, you just need to begin to talk to yourself that I will not be moved by whatever they say. Get to that point, because, somebody said something about perception. That if somebody hurts you, and if the perception you're looking at, try and look at it, in a different light, so as to alleviate that pain from you. Because the truth of the matter is that when you have to deal with it consistently and ruminating over comments, the derogatory comment can really lead to something more than
right.
Need to block it out.
You need to develop a certain a thick skin.
Yes.
A thick skin. But you said something as well, which is the focus on just having the baby. That sometimes you lose sight of the man that is even there. You just forget about him. Your whole focus is, because I did have a friend too that she's like, we only have sex now because we're marking our ovulation calendar. That's all we do now. It's just, okay, I'm ovulating now. Let's try. Come home. It's now becomes, sorry?
It becomes mechanical.
Yeah, let's just try. So you're saying that you need to find other things.
Encourage people to live their life. Now I realize that God sometimes puts you at different stages. So at work, my career began to grow.
Right.
Other areas began to grow.
Yeah.
So now that even the kids have come, I tend to reduce in all those other areas, so that I can focus more on them. So sometimes, you don't know how God's plans, our plans are different.
Yes.
From his. So we shouldn't just let everything go and work, because again, you'll be disappointed when the child comes and every other area of your life has been on the standstill. So move on with your life. Try to focus on other things and get you happy while you're working at this. And then, like I said, when the baby comes, you see that you have more of the balance.
Balance in the house. I agree. I do know of a woman as well where she felt that even just having the baby there are several steps that get to that. So first of all, getting pregnant some people struggle with that for different reasons, medical reasons, whatever. And then there are those that now get pregnant but always miscarry. So that pain, many of us don't understand the pain of, okay, yes, your period is coming, and then that's one pain, but then the baby actually came and then it disappeared. You know, I mean, it's really such a pathetic. You had a massage.
One of my IVFs that I had, you know, you could hear the fatal, everybody was happy, you know, the pregnancy test and all that, and then maybe 6 weeks or so. And then they said we're going to take it out. I did not agree. I did not agree for a long time. But you know, that pain is far more than getting pregnant.
It's worse than
It was. For some, you were expecting, and then the baby's not coming.
the baby's not coming.
So again, it's a two-way thing. Some people say, okay, let me even just feel pregnant. Let me just get pregnant. Let's not go. So we cannot even say, whatever your situation is, just know that it will pass. It's not a thing of the past, and I'm helping people with it. I'm talking about it freely. But whatever you're going through, a lot of people are going through this right now. It's a lot of things to give up on. It's finding a way, you know, to cope while you are too.
Right. So how do we cope? What is it that I should be doing, for instance, if I didn't have a child and we don't even talk about the idea that, okay, we're blaming it on in-laws. What if the pressure is also coming from your husband? You know, because I did hear a story of a husband that he was with his wife, but next thing she heard is that Baba has gotten a child outside, and the mother of the man said, you know what, you're in your house, I'll buy a junior, but this one we are keeping the baby. You know, how is such a woman supposed to move on with life if she knew her husband did not even, I don't know what the word is. You move on.
Yes, there's nothing she could do that she can do about it.
Yes.
And women, we need to talk to ourselves. There are some things, maybe it's your fault or it's not your fault. Life is just like that. It's not your fault that he went out. She could have had children and he would have still gone out. So make sure you're doing your best. Make sure you're a good wife and you're taking your purpose, your life.
I think we can bring in the idea of purpose here.
So, well, I believe that it is important that you find your space. What is it that God has given to you? Because the cares of this world can truncate that purpose if you're not careful. So you have to be intentional about, you know, being able to manage your life in any sense. Because, fine, husband has gone out to find a solution to this situation, then find ourselves, you know. But then again, that shouldn't lead to you. Fine, a lot of people will get depressed, but depression is not a solution. It's now getting distracted. You need to distract yourself from that situation so you can have your sanity. So how do you do this? Get busy. It's, you know, your purpose. Get busy. Develop healthy associations, health relationships, and other people that you know that fundamentally they have your values, share the same value, you know, so that it can help you to, you know, just strike a balance.
So a lady right now is in a marriage that, you know, her husband, she's not able to have kids, she's so focused on it, and she's hearing you say find your purpose. How does she do that? She's married, she hasn't gotten a kid, her whole mentality is on this issue. How does she find herself in all of this?
If I'm to advise such a lady, I would say pray, and secondly, if you have to do the medical procedures, you know the diagnosis, know specifically what challenges you're facing, so you can actually adhere your prayers towards it, and whatever medical interventions there might be, it's for our benefit. So let's explore it, you know, prayerfully, and also even in doing all this, be relevant.
So
God would
have me do. So for me to know what God would have me do, I need to go back to listen to what God is saying. So what I'm hearing is
Marriage is not purpose.
marriage is not purpose.
It's not. What happens to those that don't get married? What happens to those that are living life and are fulfilling? So we should make marriage the sole aim. And that's why some women, once they get into marriage, that's it. That's supposed to be an added on that. You're supposed to come and add on and make your helpmates and then you're moving on. You're excited. Everybody's excited. Doing what God
wants them to do. Yeah, I really love this, and I want us to take a short break because I want to drill in even deeper on this issue of finding our space, being relevant. I want us to talk deeply about it, but let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. This is still the When I Wanted Out talk show, and we're talking about purpose, finding your space in the world, being relevant in the world, even if you're married. And we also made a really valid point here. Marriage does not equal purpose. I mean, somebody was talking to us about that. So could you go deeper on that? Like when people say that.
Yeah, so I feel a woman, well, everybody, but women are the ones that usually have the issues. While you're growing up, you should have one thing that you're passionate about, what you think. And if you don't have, like she said, you need to find it. And then once you have it, you follow through. So married comes along, and then you are happier. You're not looking for the man to fulfill you, to make you happy, to be the purpose. You know, you're supposed to be a helpmate, and as well, shine more. In fact, marriage should help your purpose come forth. So the fact that you're married, some people are married and that's why they look onto their husband for all their happiness, everything, children and all that, and then pour your love on them. So I have someone that says, well, my children have gone now, what next? As in, what? So what next? So she now needs to go back to school for nursing or something to be able to cater for other people, which is, we need to help let people know that they should have a purpose. They're on this earth for a purpose. And you're where you are like that for a purpose. Married, being single, having children is something along the line that God has planned, that you should be able to help and all that, you know. But it's marriage is not what makes you. You are who you are. God has made you a whole. It's two whole people coming together, not one person coming to make up another and then for life you'll disappear after marriage. You know, be seen and do not heard. You know, that's not it.
So I agree with what you both said. Do you have anything that you wanted to add on to what she said about purpose and, you know, being relevant?
And so, you know, we're talking about a story about a lady that had to wait. So even in that waiting, God is bringing out a message from that mess. You know, God might be using your story to reach out to other people. So even as much as, okay, we have this difficulty, this situation, and, you know, we are trusting God to get out of it, let's find it. Let's strike a balance. Let's not allow the situation to overwhelm us such that, you know, we drown in the emotion of that problem. No, but let us, even in that situation, let's be able to find purpose, fulfill purpose, and also, of course, with the help of God, the solution will definitely be addressed. And then we'll have a story. Because, you know, people can be easily relate to people that have gone through your pain.
Right.
They are able to, you know, be a blessing to somebody out there going through it currently.
Well, I agree. I do see how, because you also said it, that
you know, now for 5 years I went through it.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not preaching. I'm not like a doctor that is taking you through. I've been there.
Right.
I've done the IUI, IVF. I've done the crying. I've had the parents-in-law putting the pressure and all those things. So when
did you put pressure on yourself?
Well, not really, because of course I had hormonal issues. So I was working on the treatment to be sure that I was fine.
Okay.
You know, and all that. But now when I see people going through it, I don't need to talk too much. Now I know so many things about ovulation, calculation. In fact, my knowledge on it was so much that now I help people. You think that I'm a doctor because I've actually been there.
I've been there.
So the message, like she said, there can be a message in the mess. So I help people now. I'm passionate about people that have been waiting and what they can do while they're waiting. They can actually make a whole life out of it while they're waiting. They can have a wonderful life, you know, because there's tendency for you to just be there that I have everything except a child. I don't have this. The child is the most important, and that's not it.
So what if the husband is insulting her? You know how your husband is now the one telling you, you're not bringing anything. This you don't have, that you don't have. You know, And does she still cope in it? Does she stay? Does she go? If she really feels pain from the man telling her that,
But it's
Unfortunately, for me, my coping mechanism, because even if I've not had this type of challenge, I still have a coping mechanism, especially for other issues.
here's the head will happen.
I go to God in prayer. That's, he has started this journey with. He knows this man I'm married to, and he understands the situation. I face the wall and talk to God to help me deal with the situation and help this man understand, the pain he's causing. And that, God would. Because for me, God is the factor that can really give us that advantage in life.
So we need God through it all. And sometimes men actually are the ones that have the problem. I hear most times the men have the problem. It's not the woman, but they turn it and make it look like.
And they might not want to go.
And they won't go to the doctor. They won't go to the hospital. They won't take that treatment.
You need to.
Yeah.
Eventually, both of you need to go for medical checkup.
Before marriage? Before?
Well, before most times, but
Well, for us, we had to, because it's
the hospital, the church, right?
We got married in the Redeemed Christian Church, or so we had the HIV,
all the tests,
then the blood test, my genotype and what have you. So all that was settled before we
got married. Okay, so you found out that then nobody had low sperm counts, nobody had
none.
go that.
Oh, so after marriage, so they said that. So it is said that after a year of mating and having sex without getting pregnant, then you are TTC. That's what they're trying to conceive. Then you need to go to the hospital and find out what exactly is wrong from both of them.
Right.
And there you know where the issue is, so that you can actually begin to work on it. Okay. And one thing I tell people is nobody can buy baby. We can't buy baby. So a man telling you that it's your fault, if I could buy, I could. What I'm saying is that it's God given. She's still the same God we go back to. And when you look at Abraham, nobody prays to get to 75
with that
to have a child or promise. But it took him so long because God has something in mind.
Right.
We all need to get to understand that even being in that marriage, being there, having this child, it's not your own doing. Focus on what you can control. You can control.
Right.
Focus on what you can control, which is your happiness, praying to God, following up on your purpose before you know it.
Yes. I think we've narrowed it down, and this conversation is really insightful. I know many people may be listening and you're looking to God for the fruit of the womb. I've heard of circles of prayer lines where they support themselves, the waiting room. Yes. So they come together, they pray. If you can find a circle of those, where you join and you're waiting on God together, your burden are other people's burdens, and everybody is crying to God for that breakthrough. I think it would be really helpful, at least personally, for even tough situations. You go to God in prayer and finding other people where 2 or 3 are gathered. It helps you. And secondly, at least from what our guest had said, is finding purpose. While you're waiting, find purpose. Your whole life should not revolve around this one issue. Your whole life cannot come to a standstill. There's so much more you can do with that time until the baby comes. Is there anything else you'd like to advise?
As you were saying, I just remembered that I actually sponsored a child. So I was looking to do a lot of things that could help me. I sponsored a child to school.
Yeah.
So I didn't adopt, but I met a child that didn't have a mother. I can't say I gave her life, but I made her fulfilled.
Yeah.
So they were praying for me, of course, as a motherless baby. So when you go there, they say, let's pray for auntie. So it was all that, find something to make you happy. Find something to make you fulfilled, like you said.
Yeah.
Help somebody else.
Yeah.
As you're helping other people,
God, when God is in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Yes. Would you want to close out with any other advice?
Yes, I totally support what she said. Look outside yourself.
Right.
Shout to other people.
Right.
And, just give out. Because the devil wants us to be self-conceited. Oh, that, pity party. No, that is not the place where God will have us. But let us reach out to Him.
Amen. Thank you. So yes, don't be distressed. It may not be the child. It may be waiting on a husband or a problematic marriage or whatever the challenge might be. My God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ever ask, think, or imagine. Don't be discouraged. Keep waiting on God. Still the When I Wanted Out talk show, Teliola Kola-Edun. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media platforms. Take care. Thank you, and see you next week.
When I